What's up, everybody? Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin Dennison, along with me, Atomic Tommy. Back again behind the mic.
Back again.
Rocking and rolling. Big week. We are here in beautiful Bloomington, Minnesota, here in our studio here at Most Wanted Comics, 9919 Lindale Avenue. I got to tell you, Tommy, big week.
Big week.
4th of July week.
4th of July, yep.
Yep, Thursday is the 4th, so I want everybody to have a safe and happy 4th of July. Any big plans for the 4th, Atomic Tommy?
I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't rain. You know, we've been getting a lot of rain. Forecast isn't looking good, so hopefully it doesn't rain. Hopefully we can have some fun, you know?
You know, this summer for Minnesota has really made me aware of why I would never, ever want to live in Seattle.
That is true. Seattle... Yeah, that's a rainy. It's been raining
every day. The mosquitoes here in Minnesota are as bad as the snowfalls in winter right now because there's had so much damn rain. The mosquitoes will carry you away. You gotta kind of wait till it's dark or have a really smoky campfire to keep away a nice breeze.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you what, it doesn't matter. The weather can't stop Most Wanted Comics from having a good time. We have July 27th. The Honky Tonk Man.
The Honky Tonk Man.
We'll be here from 10:30 to 2:30 signing autographs and taking pictures. We're going to have a lot of fun. And you know what? We have another big announcement.
Do we?
October 18th.
October 18th, yes.
We've
been waiting to announce
this. We had to finalize because this is a big deal. For some, it won't be. But for me, this guy was the reason I played football. I admired this man. And it's the start of Viking season in October. I mean, we're still in the first half of the Viking season. So, So October 18th, one of the greatest linemen for the Minnesota Vikings will be here, Tim Irwin.
Yep.
Gosh, I've been legendary offensive lineman for the Minnesota Vikings. Boy, you talk about an honor. I mean, this guy was my favorite football player. So I am honored to have him. He will be here in our studio. We're going to do a podcast with him. He's going to be signing autographs October 18th. 5 to 7 p.m. So if you want to come and meet him, get a picture taken, get an autograph, there'll be more details to come. But I just want to make it announced October 18th, the great Tim Irwin will be here at Most Wanted Comics.
That's right. You know, and it's still ways out from October.
It is, but we just finalized the deets.
Yeah, we finalized sort of the initial details. There's a lot more to come on this. You guys are hearing it firsthand.
Airfare has been booked.
So, you know, we won't be putting out anything on social media for a little while, but
you guys get the sneak peek
first.
So don't tell anybody.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
This is our secret just for the exclusive fans here at Most Wanted Comics.
This stays between us.
Between us. But I tell you what, we got another one. We're not going to announce it yet, but boy, I tell you what, fall is shaping up. We are a comic store. You know, we don't just do wrestlers and athletes. We have comic people too. We got a big one.
I mean, we got a major.
We've got a big player in the comic industry coming here.
In the comic industry coming this November. We're not going to say who it is.
We're almost done with the deets on that. But once it gets finalized, we'll leak that out too.
But just know that things are always happening here at Most Wanted, right?
Yes.
We're always bringing in guests. We're always bringing in signers. You never know who we're going to bring in next, and that's not all. We got people we're working on.
Don't sleep on summer. Summer's not over yet.
Summer's not over. You never know what can happen. We're always working. We're always putting out. Listen, we don't have the resources of the big cons or anything, but we like to give some life experiences here.
We really do.
We like to just make it fun,
We are a community store, and we like to provide our community with some life experiences that just are kind of fun and nostalgic. And you know what? There's plenty of people that can bring in all the currents, but sometimes it's fun to... Like, we brought in Kevin Tapani, 1991 world champion, unbelievable pitcher for the Minnesota Twins.
Yep.
And it was just fun for those of us that lived through it and... got to experience what it's like for Minnesota to win a championship at something.
Yeah.
Because our sports teams suck right now. They really, the Timberwolves had a good season. But I'm tired of us saying, well, we had a good season. We want a winning season, damn it. We want to win a championship. So it's kind of nice to talk to people that have won a championship. Kind of reflect on that. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. We have another big name coming. We have more to come. So stay tuned for more announcements on that. But remember, Honky Tonk Man, July 27th. Plan your falls accordingly for October 18th if you want to meet the great Tim Irwin. And then we have even more. Boy, do we have some bangers coming up. We just can't say yet. We're still working on the details.
We're working on the details. Again,
Bloomington's the place to be.
It is. It really is. Most Wanted Comics is the place to be.
But let's not brag or boast. That's not what we're about. We're about helping and serving the community. Stay tuned for the fall, too, because we'll be doing our Veep food drive, of course. That's coming up. And, of course, in the holiday season, because it's July now, that means Christmas in July. We start planning our Toys for Tushy drive in December to help the Union Gospel Mission. So we've got that coming up.
We like to jump ahead here. I mean, we're planning like 6 months in advance.
We are planning my mind is always going, Atomic Tommy. I am, bright, shiny objects carry me away sometimes, but we're always planning ahead. But we just had an awesome mega meltdown sale.
We did. It was, a whole week of awesomeness here at Most Wanted. Discounts, deals. Bunch of people came out to take advantage of this epic once a year sale. I mean, yeah, it was amazing. It was
this
great.
Is something we don't normally do. We never put the whole store on sale. We had our sports cards on sale 20% off. We had our wall books 25% off. We had our sets and bundles, our trade paperbacks, our back issues that we never put on sale.
Yeah, we never put those on sale.
We had those at 25% off. And then we had our overflow with tons and tons of $1 books and $2 books. We had everything out there. It was a great event. People came. It was a really fun turnout. It was a great mega summer meltdown. So we melted down.
We melted down.
We really got rid of some extra inventory. We got overstock taken care of. Now we can restock. If you haven't been to our store before, we encourage you to come. We have a lot of great stuff. But it is a smaller store, so we make every inch count. So but we have to get rid of stuff to restock new stuff.
Yeah.
And we had to make room. We were just getting overcrowded, so we had to get rid of a bunch of stuff, and we did. So thank you. We have the best customers in the comic world. I like to say that again. So hey, shout out to Matt and JD. Shout out to Shanice. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to the Seuser. Jimmy the Seuser.
Shout out to the Seuser.
Hey, we're getting the shout outs early today because last week I was kind of weak on those, so I promised it because, hey, where were the shout outs? You weren't prepared. So this time I'm prepared. So we want to say a shout out to Vinny, and I want to say hi to Blaster, and we want to say hi to Mark. Boy, I tell you what, we've got 2 marks in this one this time.
A couple marks, yeah. And also, how about a shout
Brian,
out?
And that was a great G.I. Joe exercise who wanted us to do our, last week we did our G.I. Joe exercise. So Brian, good job.
And how about a shout out to, Derek?
Derek, we got a shout out to Derek, yeah.
Shout out to Derek.
I forgot about
Good
Derek.
friend of Most Wanted, too.
Yeah, another good friend of Most Wanted Comics. But I tell you what, let's dive into that's the shout outs. If you like what you see, you like to kind of make sure you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to dive into some business here now. We're having fun. The Iron Man, Marvel Legends Iron Man Retro Series. How about that She-Hulk figure?
I know. This has been all the talk in the toy world for a while. This is probably the best She-Hulk figure ever released. I think that's pretty safe to say. They haven't made too many. And this one's just an updated classic She-Hulk. There was obviously, if we want to go down the history of the She-Hulk figures just for a quick second, there was the Super Skrull Build-A-Figure wave that had this sort of darker green She-Hulk, and then there was a fan channel exclusive She-Hulk that just retooled that mold with a brighter green. But this is an official, just completely awesome classic She-Hulk right here.
I like what they did with the rifle.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a cool piece.
It's a cool figure, man.
It's sold out right away. This is our 3rd wave of this that we had. We had to reorder. It sold out right away. So if you're looking for, if you don't have one and you're looking for one, we just got our next case in. Most Wanted Comics has these in stock on the shelf, ready to go for you. Feel free to email us or come in and see us, and you can have one of these awesome She-Hulk figures.
Every collector needs one, I mean, it's just...
Well, if you're a Marvel fan, She-Hulk's kind of a staple, and they haven't made too many great figures of her.
No.
So this is kind of the first awesome figure. It would go great in the collection. So anyway, enough about the She-Hulk. Let's talk about some comics. It's 4th of July week, holiday week, so new comics kind of falls in the middle of that. But what do we have coming out for the 4th of July week here?
So coming out this week, again, not a very big week, 4th of July week, but we do have Absolute Power #1, the official kickoff of DC Summer Event. The big event or whatever, and I use that term fairly loosely because so far it's kind of underwhelming, but we're not going to judge it just yet. Also, and this will lead into our discussion, Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu #0. Sort of a surprise book that, brings back Moon Knight a little bit, which brings us into our next sort of segment here.
We do have to kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
What's with all these resurrections of people?
Now, we should have put a spoiler warning, but I assume you probably know about it because it's been out for a week now. I will, before we jump into that, though, I do have to give a little statement here. Our Marvel shipment for this week has been delayed. I'm not going to get into the reasoning why. It's a bit of a long story, but we should have it hopefully within the week or by next week at the latest. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
That's okay. If you're on vacation, you'll just pick it up a week later.
Yep.
That's all.
I just want to let you guys know. But anyway, the big thing that happened last week was Blood Hunt number 4, and Moon Knight, Mark Spector, was seemingly resurrected by Khonshu. Now, Blood Hunt, I've been following fairly loosely, but it kind of took me by surprise, man, because it feels like Mark Spector just died.
Just died.
And honestly,
we just talked about this last month.
Yeah, the Vengeance of Moon Knight series, which kicked off with the number 1 after Mark Spector's death this year, is only on issue number 6. So we're not really that far into it. There hasn't really been a whole lot going on in that book either. I mean, the Shroud, there was a new Moon Knight for the first 4 issues, and that turned out to be the Shroud for the West Coast Avengers. Each issue sort of focused on a different character in the mission, but I felt like it just could have gotten more. And once again, I think they jumped the gun on the resurrection, which is that's always the classic trope, characters never stay dead in comics, which is true, but I feel like it's never been worse than it is right now. Because not only are characters dying and coming back, they're dying and then getting their reboot title announced before their resurrection even happens. Okay?
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's just terrible.
It happened with Miss Marvel, right? Kamala Khan died in Amazing Spider-Man 25 or something like that, I think it was. And then before she was even officially resurrected, her mutant number 1, or new number 1 with Kamala as a mutant was announced before she even came back. And that just, I don't understand the purpose behind that. I get it, they resurrect characters and they've been doing it for decades, but are we not even, do we have no shame anymore? Are we not even going to let it,
they don't want to let anything simmer.
Out?
They don't want anything to simmer. It's like, let's just go on to the next thing. We just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, Mark Spector died in issue 30, and it was sort of a big moment for the characters, in the Moon Knight arc and in the Moon Knight title, because they all sort of relied on Mark Spector. They all sort of had a connection to Mark Spector. And the Vengeance of Moon Knight book is really, what are they going to do without Mark Spector? And it was actually really cool. Jed MacKay was doing a really good job. Jed MacKay, if you don't know, was the writer. And he was actually doing a really good job diving into each character and how they're dealing with the death of Mark Spector, who was essentially their leader, who brought them together, who kept a community around, with protecting the travelers of the night, the Midnight Mission. And it was actually really cool.
Unless they were getting a lot of pressure from the higher ups or whatever, it just seems like that was a decision that was made on a Friday and real close to 5 o'clock.
Right.
Got any ideas? All right, bring back Mark Spector. Let's go.
Yeah,
that's
and
a great
it was
idea.
kind of done in a really weird in the book too, And again, the Vengeance of Moon Knight series, all of that work, all of that character development with Hunter's Moon and Reese and Tiger and all these characters, 8-Ball even, just undone. With the resurrection of Mark Spector. Not undone in the sense that it doesn't exist or doesn't happen, but just undermined, really. And in Blood Hunt number 4, where he came back, it was kind of a weird little segment, because it just kind of cuts from a fight. I don't know, some people might not have read it or whatever, but it essentially cuts from a fight to Khonshu bringing back the Moon Knights, then back to a fight where Thor shows up. It was very abrupt. Seemingly a little forced, like almost something that was kind of added in at the last second, again, for maybe a higher up who wanted to bring Mark Spector back. Yeah. It seemed very out of place.
It seemed like a rushed decision, didn't it?
Very rushed decision, which seems to be a common theme in Marvel these days, rushed decisions.
Yeah, quality, not quantity.
Quantity, right? Yeah, exactly.
Let's get back to just, and you don't suck right now. You're just not there yet. Image has really got it together. Take a note from them. Get your shit together. Get it ready to go.
It's just really cheap, guys. I mean, come on now. You can't, and don't get me wrong, I like Mark Spector. I like Moon Knight, but, I mean, to just bring him back.
Moon Knight's a great character.
I mean, if you're going to do that, at least wait a little, come on, guys.
There's a lot of potential. Moon Knight's always been a great character. People love Moon Knight. You're not going to ruin the fandom.
No.
So you're not going to wreck the fandom. So I don't get it. But they're doing what they're doing. We're going to have to read it now and judge and see how we're doing. Yeah. So we're going to take. We'll be on top of this one. We'll check back in a few weeks on it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But so that
we'll have to circle back.
It's just kind of lame.
That's
just kind of lame.
That was a good discussion.
That was a good discussion, but
the resurrection thing does suck. You can't do it so much that it just burns everybody out.
Yeah.
I mean,
but let's talk about this too. Moving away from Moon Knight for a second, it is July 1st.
It is,
which is a big thing, and I would like to remind people the X-Men reboot this month.
It's going to be quite popular.
July 10th, the exact date. X-Men #1 comes out. I'm excited.
We better not be delayed on those orders.
I don't think we will be.
They'll be hell to pay. There'll be riots in the streets.
But
otherwise, we'll cause this
emotional damage.
Yeah, we will.
if we don't have those out on time. Though.
This is another thing too that I'd like to bring up. I'm hyped for the X-Men reboot, man.
I am too.
I think it's going to be really exciting. I think the title needs it. Right? We've discussed this before, but I do have a concern. And look, I don't know if you guys have done like a head count on how many X-Men titles are coming out, but there is a lot, okay? There's like 8 or 9 within the first month. Between July and August, there are like 8 or 9 X-Men titles releasing. That is a lot, okay? In the span of 2 months, they have matched Spider-Man, the number of Spider-Man titles, which is insane. Spider-Man has a ton of titles out, right? If you think about what releases, like there's like a Spider-Man title every week or something, or 2. It's crazy how many Spider-Man titles there are, and the X-Men have somehow matched it in 2 months. That is insane. And at least with Spider-Man, right, it was sort of a gradual thing. Like one title would release 1 month and another, and they'd kind of build it up over time, right? No, they're just throwing it in waves.
Throwing it out there.
They're just tossing it out in waves. And my fear with that,
I like it. Go bold.
Yeah, but my fear with that is oversaturation. You don't want to get to a point where people are tired of the X-Men. Because right now people are kind of tired of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's always popular. It's the most popular Marvel character, right? Probably next to Wolverine or something like that. And, it's their golden boy of Marvel, right? But people are kind of tired of Spider-Man comics. I mean, ASM's not good, and that's ending, which we can get to that in a second, too. I forgot about that. There's spectacular. There's all these Spider-Man titles, and people just, don't have you have to dedicate a whole separate time just to read all the Spider-Man titles. People are kind of tired of that. And I really don't want that to happen to X-Men. And there's so many X-Men titles, guys. It's crazy.
Well, as long as they limit the characters, so there's not 1,000 mutants running around.
Right. And I think that...
Can we get back to just 6 or 7 that you can get behind and associate with?
And I think that's partially why they split it into 3 flagship titles, right? There's Exceptional X-Men, there's X-Men, and there's Uncanny X-Men. And they all focus on a different group of popular X-Men. And I think the reason why there are so many titles is to keep it sort of confined.
I think so, because otherwise there's just too many X-Men.
And that's true. But again, I hope that it doesn't do that. But as I mentioned just a moment ago, guys, if you haven't heard the big news, cue the celebration music, because Amazing Spider-Man is coming to an end this September. It's insane. Praise the Lord. It's over, right? It's over. We only have to read a few more months of Amazing Spider-Man. I'm so excited. Now, I forgot who they did. I forgot who the writer is replacing Zeb Wells. I forgot who they're bringing in. But when I remember, we'll talk about it. I think it ends in September, so I think we'll talk about it closer to the launch date. But I just wanted to put the news out there that it's over. We can take a breath.
You can breathe easy now.
We can take a relief. I think
people's wallets will appreciate that.
I think what we're gonna do, we might have a discussion. We might bring in the Sousa. It might be you and me. And I do want to do a sit down and really just kind of, do a Zeb Wells Spider-Man discussion, because there's a lot that happened in his run.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack, and I know we've talked about Spider-Man so much. I've talked about it so much, but I think doing just a complete overlook once the series ends is important, right? Because it wasn't all Zeb Wells' fault. It was, there were a lot of editor problems, and there were a lot of things that could have been done better. So we're going to do that, but I just wanted to relay the good news. Because it's just...
Hey,
Excited.
I think is it next week? Now we have just so people are thinking next week we have guests coming in. We're gonna do an unboxing of some vintage toys, aren't we? Next week.
I believe so.
I believe so. I almost forgot that we had to.
I know. We're gonna have some vintage toys coming in next week.
Yeah.
Unboxing.
Yeah, I think so. I think we got.
Our friends, the Gostovich family, is gonna be coming in.
They're coming in. They're gonna bring in. He's cleaning out his basement. And he had his vintage toys. He's like, you know what? We should unpack it. Like, that's a great idea. Well, you guys can see what he had, and we'll unpack it together. Some cool vintage toys. We do sell vintage toys here, Most Wanted Comics. So next week we're going to be doing that too. Didn't mean it was a thought bubble that came into my head about next week, but so X-Men's coming out. We know they're gonna come out hard. It's going to be a lot coming at you after the 4th of July break. So rest up during the 4th of July break, people.
Yeah.
This is our week to take it easy and restock the store. And I tell you what, we want everybody to have a safe and happy week out there.
Absolutely.
Have a great 4th of July. Go see some fireworks. Have some fun with your family. Barbecue up some good burgers. I tell you what, 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays.
Yep.
And then after that, it's pretty much that's kind of the midway through summer. We start thinking about fall, and we got a lot planned this fall. I really hope you follow us on Facebook. We're gonna have a whole plethora of events and things going on this fall. We're going right into it, and also tomorrow we start our summer reading.
Yep.
Recommendations. So we'll have a special section in our store for kids. If parents are looking for something for their kids to read, we have plenty of recommendations for the children. So make sure if you want some good summer reading material for the kids, stop on by Most Wanted Comics, and we can recommend a few things for you.
Yep.
So we got that kicking off now with summer. We've got a light new comic week, but then after that, all systems go for X-Men. And then we're going to have some more guests to announce because next week we're going to announce a slew of some more guests coming.
Hopefully. We'll see.
Hopefully. As long as we can get everything worked out, it's just a matter of communication and getting it done in a timely manner. But other than that, everybody, I think that's about a wrap today. Is there anything else?
So. Yeah.
I think we nailed it.
We did.
We covered a great toy. We had our debate and discussion on the Resurrections. We talked about the X-Men. We talked. Anything else?
No, I think we're good, man.
All right, everybody. You guys have a great, happy 4th of July. And stay tuned for next week. We got a lot more to talk about. And also a sharing event because we're going to share some vintage toys with you guys. So we'll see you next week.